everyone. Welcome back to the LFC Toronto show. I've got Jake, I've got Dan, I'm Azaz, and we've got so much to talk about because how could we have a bad day after what just happened? Jake, Dan, 6-0 against Leeds United. This was that one game in hand. Jake, what do you think?
You know what? Today was one of my favorite moments, and we talk about this quite a bit with Matip. Matip, I think he's just a slighter version of Virgil, right? From that standpoint, and he's got I think they're 6'4", 6'5" a pop. I think they're relatively the same height, and we know that Matip has a technical prowess. Like he's got skills, he doesn't get to showcase them all, but you felt in the last 6-8 games he's got a little foray, a little bit of run in him. And he's moving the ball, and that give and go with Mo is fantastic. And it just seemed like a gazelle just running through the jungle, and then just that nice little round ball around the keeper. And you can see, of course, how the team was elated, right? Like grin to grin, slapping him in the back of the head and doing this, whatever else was fantastic. That was one of my favorite moments of the match today. Oh, okay, I got to say. The Africans today were fantastic as well. I'm glad that both of them got on the score sheet. And I think we squandered a few. I think we could have got I know Leeds. I like Leeds. I like the way they play, and they try hard, and that's Bielsa's move. But I'm happy that they both got on the score sheet. What do you think, Danny?
Yeah, I agree with all of the above. I think it was a crazy stat I saw on Twitter or something where it had Matip, I think, with the highest dribble percentage in the league, which was wingers, like some of the best attackers in the league don't even have that, or even, some of what even Mo and people like that, right? So you're thinking, wow, what a thing. And the other thing with it was just on the Matip thing was I think our fan base really we have a checklist, right? And right now we know what the big prizes at the top of the checklist are. But midway through, maybe bottom down that checklist is we want to see a goal from Joel Matip because it's been building up, right? I mean, he's dribbled, he's got through nearly maybe 3 or 4 times, and he's just missed that last touch, or he hasn't, there's been a block or two from the opposing side, but today it just fit really well, and Mo, being the unselfish star that he is, just supplied it, which is amazing. So yeah, it did warm my heart as well, and just seeing all of our fan accounts sort of just jump on that, made and the boys' celebration, it was awesome as well. I thought today wouldn't have been a problem in terms of the actual opposition. I think Bielsa, I love him in the style that they play, but I love them because of that, because they're so open, right? And we're gonna have a nice back and forth with them. So yeah, it was great. It was a great match for us, and padded our goal difference. So,
well, talking about padding, we had an agenda when we first set out. We had this as one of the first shows that we put down because we were so excited about the Carabao Cup Final. But then that Leeds game has just come in and completely changed our agenda. We wanted people on from Chelsea. For some reason, they didn't want to be on our show, which is fine. It's all good. But at the end of the day, we have to acknowledge what happened today, because this is the one game that has always been on our head since Boxing Day, actually. One game behind. And it made 12 points or 13 points at one point look worse, because obviously, really, that was 10 or 9, depending on if it's 12 or 13. But here we are, 3 points behind Man City, having to go there. We already knew if we win all our games, technically that means we beat them and we can win the league that way. But today was such a big marker, because now we've got the +4 goal difference as well. And Man City won a title on goal difference, and we all probably celebrated, because at the time it was a different vibe when we obviously, our biggest rival was taking them on. But today was huge. And, from the Matip goal, the Matip celebration, Mo is just once again majestic. Thiago coming back in. But I'm going to throw it back to Dan and talk about Sadio as the number 9, the man in the middle. Your boy, what do you think?
He played excellent. I thought he was quite unselfish. He got in the way of Diaz's strike in the first minute or a couple of minutes. And that looked in, by the way. That was curling in. So
Yeah.
I think he felt bad about that. But he was he played really well. He did the hard yards, and he had a bit of Diogo in him, right? At one of those poaching goals after the cut in, and I think Sadio, he plays a lot of different types of roles for us. He's a very humble guy. I mentioned, obviously, viewers of this won't take my word for it. They'll see it on a daily basis. But I felt he had just a great rapport and with Mo, and it's funny, he had two, Mo had two, and our center backs had two. So that was just a nice sort of round up the circle kind of thing. And it was to come away, knock on wood, with no injuries for this final, amazing.
And just before we move, sorry, go on, Jake.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to just ask you both about, now that we've seen Leeds play, and we're talking about, I know we've transfer windows come and gone, whatever else, but what do you think about Rafinha? Do you think that he could be a player that we would possibly look at as an option for one of our backs?
I personally am not that interested because of the price. I think if we could have got him without that Premier League premium, I think today's a very harsh way to judge him, because they're literally playing the best team on form in the country, right? I mean, I was listening to a BBC or a Sky podcast a couple of weeks ago, and they're very, very quick to be like, Man City are the best team in the world. Man City are the best team in Europe. These guys have never won a Champions League, so sit down, firstly. Even this team, our team has won a Champions League. We've won the World Club Cup. And it's not like a Chelsea thing, because we've also won, this team has won the league. So, I get it, Man City, they were flying, it was amazing. But, right now, today, Leeds played on form, arguably the best team in the continent. So it's very hard to judge Rafinha or any player on that, particularly because his thing is the attacking side.
Yeah.
But the reason he's a no for me is nothing to do with him. I think Jurgen would work wonders with him, but that Premier League premium pricing, I'm just not into it. Look at what just happened with Diaz. Yeah, Dan, do you agree?
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree. I think the premium is what's scaring us away. I think if you look at Diaz, shrewd business as well, when it happened, right in the winter window, and he was priced at almost double, right, in terms of what he came in for, and so that's just some shrewd operations from our gurus there in the transfer committee. But one thing, sorry, just to go back to the City thing that you mentioned. Wasn't it funny how the media, and it's always the case, but when the media focused in on Trent's comments, remember the interview he gave?
Oh yeah.
And there was something around, right? So they haven't won it. I was just thinking about that when you mentioned that, as I was it was he even prefixed that by saying, hey, no digs here, but they haven't won, and they haven't won. And it was that's true. But then, it gets spun. Trent makes a dig at City, and this, that, and then funny enough, right? What happens after? Spurs go on and give it to them, and funny enough, Spurs today just total shambles. So in terms of their result, but so happy that they played out of their shirts against City. So thank you, Antonio and Harry.
Yeah. To that point that you just made, I did just make a dig. I am making a dig because I'm not Trent and I don't have to have the PR side, right? The thing is, I have absolute ultimate respect for Man City's football. And I'm not one of those fans like our biggest rivals fans who tries to knock Pep down. Pep is a football genius. There's no two ways about it. My issue's not with Man City 100%. At all. My issue's with the media. They're so quick to diminish what we do. They want to knock us down, and they also don't want to give us our flowers. Cool. No worries. Similar to how we've done it in the past. If we end up doing it, and we were joking about it in our group today, it's we had to listen to Martin Tyler whining and moaning today about
Martin, we need you on.
About a majestic Liverpool performance. And also, just to add to that as well, I remember, because I was back, you guys know I was back home in the UK when Liverpool played Chelsea. And I remember Man United text right back celebrating when Kovacevic and Pulisic scored the goals. that's not even your team, man. Like that's, it's different if you're celebrating a United goal. So all of that I think that like, that's why I'm so passionate about the statements I make right now about, what we might be might be the best team in Europe. We might not be. City might not be, but we've got the credentials, and anybody who doubts this team moving forward, like as Stevie once said, all the best.
Yeah, Jake and Zaz, I know both of you obviously have English roots, right, in terms of your families and upbringing and all that. I wanted to actually probe on that question, which was, do you feel that Liverpool, because of the success we've had in the 60s, 70s, 80s, that kind of thing, and then also the regional sort of aspect of it, right, Northwest and London, and comparing those two centers and like, that sort of tear down mentality, which is like the big, there's always this notion of the biggest team in England, right? And for the last upteen amount of years, it's been United because of what they've done, obviously with Sir Alex and all that. But like, do you feel now that Pep's come in and there's been other good teams like obviously Chelsea, but like because it's like Liverpool's successful again, do you feel it's almost like we can't get them back to where they were on that perch sort of thing? So we can't praise them enough because they're just Liverpool, like they're going to be good, but they're never going to be good enough for us, as in like they're not a Manchester club or they're not from London. Because I see in let's say the media, a lot of the focus being on, what's Arsenal going to do? What's Chelsea going to do? And even before this season, you saw a lot of it, right? Which was like underrating us. I mean, yeah, we had some injuries last year, but some weren't even picking us in the top four. And it was like baffling, if you really think about it. I don't know, Jake, what do you think on that? Just like the media.
I think there's a lot of history with that as well. Like with Hillsborough High, so like all of the things that just
some resentment in there too, right? Yeah.
The whole Manchester, Liverpool, the cities, and how the steel trade and all that, the commodities back in the days, and I think all that has played into this as well. And because we had so much early success and how it was transpired, right, with Paisley's and just the history from that. And they just, any other team couldn't win anything for quite a long time. Right?
Yeah.
And so, and of course we're going to love that because we're passionate Liverpool fans, but they just couldn't wait for that to happen. Right. And then they just drove it. We had some really lean times. We did some really great things. We had some lean times. And now we are in this fantastic squad. And one thing I love about this squad is that we bought, mind you, and we made some shrewd, the Coutinhos and the Sturridges and those changes, which allowed us to get Virgils and whatever else. But we built a team, right? We didn't just go take $1 billion and say, I'm going to get the best two of those, 4 of these, and make a city, for argument's sake, right? And so now we have this. Now we're back now for argument's sake, right? We have all the stats, we have all the great players. We're doing wonders with what we have. And we do complain because we want them to spend some more money, and we want to be in their heads saying, "What are you doing? Can't you see what we see?" Right? We need a bit of support. We needed this, and of course, look where we are now. And all of these fans hate us, and they hate us for so many reasons. Your Scouse accent, you're this, you're that, and as the list goes on, what do you think?
Man, you hit the nail on the head on so many levels. And, because we are going to be looking forward to Sunday, I feel like we got to park some of this for a whole other show.
No, for sure.
In the summer.
Sorry
I think this, no, please don't apologize. I think this is some of I think this might be some of our deepest content. And once the season starts to slow down, rather than arguing about kits and stuff, which we can also get because we're big kit lovers on here, we can start to get into a lot of this. But the big thing I want to say here is, and I think I think the two of you are like this as well. Like, I'm a big personal development guy. Like, I'm always into to that scene. And one of the things I read recently was, people are jealous of the way somebody feels about something else. So it's not the money, it's not this, it's not that, it's not the superficial stuff. It's how you feel about something is what they can't get. So if you're a Chelsea or a City, you can't have what we have, and arguably what Man United have, and arguably what Arsenal have. It will take generations for them to have that. So that's why they hate us. Man United hate us because they're the other juggernaut and they're our biggest rival. And there is the other, there is obviously the it was cotton, Jake. There was like the manufacturing trade and everything. There's all of that stuff, which is, the two towns of rivals. But really, the thing that's crazy about Man United is us and them have never battled it out properly, consistently, toe to toe, really ever. Like we've had like the Liverpool and Everton rivalry, and then towards the end of our peak, it was Liverpool and Arsenal. Then everybody fell off. I have to say that when Man United took over, everybody fell off. It's not like they knocked anybody off their perch. United's first title race was against Norwich City and Aston Villa in 92-93. So everybody fell off. Sorry?
Yeah.
No slight to them, but yes.
Yeah, no slight to them at all. But what I'm saying is then they got into it with Blackburn, they got into it with Arsenal, then Chelsea entered the mix.
Newcastle.
We were never, Newcastle, of course. We were never really that. And now look at how fate has had it this way. Once again, the two big teams aren't going at it again. It's unlike like Real and Barca. It's unlike some of the 2-3 big Italian teams who always duke it out. We don't duke it out with them and they don't duke it out with us. But why it's so prevalent with this generation is because they grew up with Alex Ferguson's era of domination, right? So they can't even deal with it. And I had a couple of conversations recently, including one today, and they shall remain nameless. Even today, somebody was talking to me about Matip being like, well, Fred looked world-class against Leeds. And I'm like, I'm not talking about Matip looking world-class against Leeds. I'm talking about Matip looking world-class all year. And today was the cherry on top. They can't give us anything. And you know what? One thing that, sorry, I'm going on about this. The one thing I don't want...
A little passion here, I feel.
The one thing I don't want to happen, and hold me accountable, please. I never want to be that bitter when we do eventually have to chase someone. Please knock it out of me.
It's a valid point.
If I've learned anything in these last 5, 6, 7 years, which may be the greatest time that we will ever support Liverpool, maybe in our lifetime, the one thing I've learned is I never want to be them. Like I never want to look at United, Arsenal. I was going to say Tottenham, but that's like probably not going to happen. But like, I never want to look at them. I want to focus on our club moving forward, because the day will come. The day will come where we aren't 1 or 2. And, we might finish second this year. We could still win nothing this year, but it's effing amazing supporting Liverpool because it's the feeling. It's the journey and it's the feeling. That's what, in my opinion, that is what they can't have. That's what they can't have. And United and Arsenal could have it. I've seen it. They can have it. I've seen the parades for the treble. The Invincible team was out of this world. So they have the stature that they could have, but they don't have it right now. Like they're rebuilding and stuff. So they hate. But the reason why you get other fan bases doing it is because they don't get it. Like you're supposed to have this romantic feeling about football, and we have it, and now we're winning. It's too much for them.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's well put. Absolutely. And yes, let's also park this for a different
100%.
day as well. I think that's a whole other sort of podcast for that one.
100%.
Sorry, not podcast. What am I saying?
Yeah. YouTube show. So, without further ado, we didn't even touch on Norwich, which is fine. Jake mentioned the City versus Tottenham game. We could have got into that, but we don't have time because we've got silverware to win Sunday. Jake, firstly, let's look at it from the Toronto angle. I don't know if you can give us like latest updates on numbers, but like we are booking up fast.
I think there's okay, so let's break down the 3 pubs. So Sly Fox is pretty much at capacity. I think there's about 120 or 130 folks that are going to be.
I'll tell you exactly while you.
Mr. Treasurer.
I think Elephant Castle is about 300. And also the Madison's about 300 as well. So So those are our latest numbers.
So
I think
say them again.
Slight correction
Sorry,
right there.
sorry.
So Elephant Castle is actually not at 300, but it's sizable. Put it like that. And yeah, and Sly Fox as well, just over 100 and climbing. The Madison's over 250, I believe, right now. So there's a lot of fellow Reds and supporters in the city and across the GTA who are looking to enjoy a proper final, irrespective of the result. It's the feeling, as you heard from your man Azaz right now, that you want to be a part of. So be a part of it. Join us.
Yeah, we've got some. Through all the 3 locations that we have, we've got some good things going on. We've got some raffle prizes. We've got some giveaways, so which is fantastic. And of course, you have the audience. So whoever does have a ticket, please, we implore you to come to the pub a bit early. Because you got to check your vaccination status. You got to do all those things at the door, and make sure game time is 11:30. So the pubs will probably open up about 9:30. Around that time frame, so please make sure that you're in. You're going to be lining up for a bit, so just make sure that you understand that and make your way accordingly, safe and sound. And
just really quick,
time.
Really quick, Azaz, where are you going to be?
I'm at Elephant and Castle, so I think we're all. No, are we in different?
No,
you guys are both. Yeah.
Jake and I are going to be at Sly Fox in Burlington. So just excited about that. I want to check out that new awesome pub that fellow Reds are at. And yeah, you're going to be at Elephant and Castle, and then obviously the home pub for us this season is the Madison. So there's a lot of folks going there, and Evie and Reagan are going to be a part of that as far as their exact team. But
it's looking great from a logistic perspective. We're doing very good for numbers, and so I think we're capping that off in another couple of days. I think, but if you haven't got your ticket, please, we implore you to go to the website. LFCtoronto.com, a member section, events, pick your pub, and hopefully you'll be able to get a ticket, and we'll see you on Sunday.
And tell people about it. Like bring people, if you know other Reds, bring them out. Like you heard it directly from the man here. We've got hundreds of Reds coming across 3 different pubs. Like, honestly, this is we shouldn't even use the word unprecedented, because it was used an unprecedented number of times over the last 2 unprecedented years. But this is crazy. This is a Liverpool watch party in a city 5,000 miles away from Liverpool, spread across 3 pubs in the Greater Toronto area. You want to be a part of this, and this might be the first of a few, maybe, hopefully, touch wood.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Just to add one more thing, just on that context, and this is with COVID restrictions.
Yeah.
Have these COVID restrictions been lifted, those numbers would double and triple innately, right? So just understand that for future things, we're going to have those types of numbers. So imagine the party, imagine the viewing, imagine being that with your family on those events. So look forward to these things.
And just one last procedural thing. It's first come, first serve, right? So if you're in a lineup, if you're getting in terms of seating at each of these venues, I know that's been a bit of consternation there. Just remember, it's first come, first serve in certain seating areas, and that includes everyone, including our executive team as well.
Yeah,
transparency.
So before we go into the game, then I'll flip over to Dan. So just to round that back up, Carabao Cup Final, 3 pubs, hundreds of Reds, raffles, prizes, good times, maybe some silverware. You got to be part of this. You've got to be part of this, because we want it to be the first of many just on this season alone. Cool?
Yep.
Absolutely. Can't wait.
And the thing we will be watching is our first domestic cup final in 6 years, and we lost that one against Chelsea. No, sorry, that was against City.
City.
City. But the first, of course, yes, first season of Klopp. And then looking for our first domestic silverware in 10 seasons. Dan, how do you see this going?
Just a cagey affair. I think it'll be a low-scoring match. It's Tuchel versus Klopp, right? It's the German versus German. I don't think it's going to be as open. But then again, it's a League Cup final, right? It's not a Champions League final where it's like last year, right? Which is about more cat and mouse, put it like that. But I think Chelsea has a myriad of options. I feel like they have a squad depth, all of that. They have the tactical nous. Like they have a lot of good things.
Yeah.
But they're playing us, and they're playing us in our quote unquote pomp, right? And so like our form right now, like you said off, I think earlier in the show, like we're legit the best team in the country right now. Knock on wood, hoping the performance is there, and if we play to our performance level,
yeah,
it'd be hard not to back us. Now, there's a couple things around the keeper, and I still have a ton of faith with Guif, but like I don't know. It will be an interesting affair. Jake, what do you think, man?
I think what's very interesting, well, there's a lot of things that are interesting, but one of the points of reference is that the two players that they have injured and the two players that we have injured, right? Diego and Bobby on our side, and they have Ziyech and Kovacic on their side that look to be injured right now. I don't know what the prognosis is for Diogo right now. And you know what? Kelleher is a stand-up. Again, we've been talking about this for a few times now, that I think we're going to have this issue of, does he stay or does he go like next year? In terms of, does he want to get first team footy like constantly, or will he have one more year behind Allison and then apply his trade with the Cups and these things and just get that kind of 20 game kind of season from that standpoint if we continue on? Will he do that?
Type.
Yeah, basically, right? And then I'm just it's the rest of the lineup. I did enjoy, like, so who do we put out, right? So I think it's basically today's lineup essentially.
Yeah.
I think that's it. I do like the free flowing of Diaz in the Bobby kind of mold, right? And I did like the premise of reading that Klopp likes his free flowing style a little bit, right? He's got pace, he's got skill. So and a fantastic moment is that he's fitting in seamlessly in the squad, right? And in the bright lights, big city, who knows how they're going to be, right? There's a lot of pressure on him to being the number one Colombian player as well, right? So from that standpoint, I think from a score perspective, I think it's going to be a tough one. I'm hoping that it's going to be a 1-0, maybe a 2-1 affair. But they have got some really good talent, and of course we do. So I think it's going to be, as Dan says, a cagey affair. Izaz, what do you think?
So we touched on it already. I love the Diaz on the left and Mane in the middle. Whoever takes that middle role, I have full confidence in. Mane's the current holder, but Jota's lethal. They've got roughly the same amount of goals this season. I wouldn't change Diaz on the left because I just think the injection of pace and the trickery is net new to the Premier League. So there's not much to really go at. I did have a thought today, like, can he play? Have we checked that out? Like, can he play in the final? Because sometimes there's like the whole registration piece as well. Assuming he can play, I wouldn't change. I wouldn't change that. The midfield, I picked my Champions League final midfield a couple of weeks ago, so I'm definitely going to use them in the Carabao Cup. The one
Naby's
place
that sorry. Sorry.
The one but I would bring Naby off the bench if we're winning and they're chasing. I would bring Naby off the bench in a New York minute because he's so good at the transition part of like carrying the ball from like defense to attack.
Yeah.
I have a question about if Matip will swing out for Konate just because of Lukaku. I feel like that's one piece. Trent's a given, Robbo's a given, Virgil is a given. Fab, I would play Thiago and Hendo, but I'm confident with whatever ones he puts out. Mo's a given. I would put Mane up front and Diaz on the left if we are able to go with it. Jota's barber has declared him fit, which is hilarious. So yeah, on Twitter he posted a picture of a picture of Diogo's
nice fade too. Right?
Yeah, like a amazing fade.
He's getting cleaned up then, you never know if he's getting cleaned up.
Yeah. And it's but Jake, it actually says final ready with like an explosion. So I think he's been declared fit by his barber. Not sure he's got medical permission to declare someone fit, but that's where we are. I think it will be cagey, but my thing is, I think I've been called out for this in our Liverpool group over the months. Like, I'm not a massive believer in Chelsea, to be honest with you. Like, I think City are on our level. I think City are amazing. Pep is majestic. Klopp is phenomenal. Like, I think we are very, very close. And you have to show up and win the games like we did today, like they didn't do on Saturday, etc. I think there's a bit of distance between us and Chelsea, to be totally honest with you. I think there's a bit of distance between Tuchel and Klopp. Doesn't mean we'll necessarily win, because number one, they're stacked. And number two, we've not shown it for a while, but we do have a non-performance in us. Like, it's not like it's completely unheard of.
Yeah.
And stage fright is a real thing as well, right?
Actually,
yeah. Go on, sorry, mate.
On that point, I think that's a great segue into this question, which is, and you touched on it earlier, Zaz. I think it's an important point, which is, we're going into this match with the core team that was developed over a few years now, right? So we have experience in finals. Chelsea does as well, right? So they do. City don't.
Yeah.
At a prestigious, let's say, and this is not prestigious. I'm just saying, like, on a Champions League type of final. So both sides have that experience to dial it up, right? To like dial up the performance, and you can see some of their players in there, like Conte and like Rudiger, man. He's been massive for them. If you think about what he's brought.
Yeah.
But if you look at it on like our level, right, in terms of when we've been in finals, even the ones we lost, we played generally well. I mean, aside from the Mo getting injured thing, and even then we hung with Real and spectacular goal here and there, but like, we hung with them quite a bit. And if you remember in that match too, we were like 27 minutes, we were on it. Like, we were on it and on them with the somewhat of an inferior squad. What really gives me like confidence in this is like our first 11, amazing, but there are like game changers off our bench that could come on
finally
and actually do something. And granted, again, Diogo's got to be there. Bobby, hopefully he's back. But even if they're not there, Ox, Divock, like there's still some depth there, and I just really like the fact that we have, in case Robbo picks up an injury, like we have Costas, and like we have good depth at the different positions, and that's where I think the confidence level for me has gone up over past years, where we would just be getting by on our best 11 for sure. I think we compete with anybody, but around that 65 minute mark, we need to change things. What do we do, right? And I think now we have more of that option to do so. But let's see. Let's see what happens.
I think that one of their, I think the last time we played them, that 2-2 affair, I'm just going to say that, I do worry about Puslic. He's a great player for them. If he's on, he's a diehard Chelsea fan from a little boy. And he's one of their kind of, like stars. And I wouldn't think, I would almost say that Kovacic cannot hit that ball again. Specifically,
no,
like,
no.
Right. So, and don't get me wrong, they played well after, from that time frame. But I think if we're on, like, I think we're capable. Of course, we're capable, more than capable. But I am excited to see what's going to happen this weekend. And it is a Carabao Cup, but we haven't challenged for something in a minute. So this is going to be a good encounter for sure, either way.
What I would say, just to close the loop on that, is I don't mean to disrespect Chelsea when I say that. I think they're comfortably the third best team in the league. The thing for me is, I know we had mixed reviews even within our group of like Liverpool versus Inter. I didn't see it that way personally. Like, I actually thought we were, like, most of the game we were the better team. But obviously we have a vested interest in watching Lille because of Jonathan David. And like, if we play as well as Lille did, we walk out of that comfortably. So that they're those things that make me, like, and I know, again, in our World Club Cup final, we weren't amazing. Like, I get it. But like, I watched that game against Palmeiras because, remember, we were all watching different things on the same day. It was 2 Saturdays ago. Again, like, it's Palmeiras, and no disrespect to them, but like, they're not on our level right now. So not saying that, I'm absolutely not saying it's a walk in the park. I do think it will be a cagey affair, but like, what I really want us to do is start to have that complex of, if we show up, we win the game. And I do believe if we show up, we win the game. And I want us to own that for the rest of the year.
Could I ask one question on the role of Lukaku, and as opposed to the pacey wingers, like, the ZX or Pulisic or Havertz even up front, cutting behind Werner, but I don't think he's going to start Werner, but like comparing that attack versus, and if Mason Mount starts or not, I don't know, because he's pretty pivotal to them as well offensively. Do you feel we would fare better given our defensive prowess, Virgil, Joel back there to handle a Lukaku, or is he still a danger, in a match like that? Because he is a match winner by definition. What do you think about that? Just before
I see Jake smiling. Jake gotta go first.
I read an article. I read an article today. He's not been in the greatest mindset in the last month.
Yes,
Lukaku as a whole, just whatever his Tuchel, whatever that argument was in the situation. Then in that same article, it showed after Drogba, and Drogba was a fantastic, phenomenal player for them.
Unbelievable player.
But after Drogba, the amount of strikers that they've had from Fernando to Higuain, like Morata, like they all didn't do anything. In like 50 games, 100 games, like 150 games, their scoring ratio was that. And there was a bit of a comparison. There was a bit of a comparison with Lukaku coming back again. And is Chelsea now a place where a striker is like
goes to die?
Like he's gonna die. And that was a very interesting thing. I didn't realize that, like when I looked at the stats of the other strikers, I was like, wow, okay. And from Torres, and I was like, okay. And I saw like 20 goals out of 150, and there's some slight numbers, and I was like, no. And so it's in his head. It's completely in his head. And I don't know who will show up that day, right? But I think between the three center backs that will be in play, Konate, like Virgil and Matip, they're sizable. I think we're fine from that. And I think this is going to be in his head that day for sure. So I'm hoping that this article, he reads it before and it's still in his head. And then, he has this kind of like, complex of like, oh my God, I got to try super hard. And as a result, he's completely off his game, right? We shall see.
Yeah, I've always seen him as like a flat track bully who had to add like big game wins to his repertoire. Like his goal scoring record as a younger player, like it rivals like Rooney and Owen and like the big name younger players.
Definitely.
What he didn't necessarily do at those ages was, and he didn't have the platform because he was playing for Everton and West Brom. They were playing for United and Liverpool. What he wasn't doing was scoring in the big games against the big teams, but he was racking up the goals. Arguably, he did do that for Inter. He scored big goals in big games for Inter. My problem with Lukaku playing well on Sunday, and it can happen, is what Jake just said. His best friend is Lautaro Martinez, and we saw last week, like, this guy just didn't I don't think anybody wants any of Virgil. Like, you don't want it. You just don't want to do it. Like, you don't want to deal with it. You're just like, go away. Like, and so that's one piece of it. But like, on the flip side, like, this is one of the reasons why we might play Ibu, is you don't want any of that either. Like, at least Virgil has got like the grace. Konate is just like a beast, right?
Hank. Yes, the pace, strength, everything. Full package. And it speaks to our versatility. Sorry, but it speaks to our versatility too, right? Which is to like match up against pace or a holding striker. Sorry, Zaz, you were gonna say.
No, mate. All I was gonna say was so my thing is, how are you going to be off form? And unless it's like, like we talked about the Pulisic, the Mounts, they're very dangerous players. Even Alonso, like, I don't rate him as a left back, but he's got an amazing set piece. They can just ping one on his head and he could be 1-0. And in a week's time, you could watch this back and be like, were those guys making fun of Lukaku? Because, like, history's shown that you can't really write off certain things like a given. That's why I'm being careful to say, if we show up, we should win. But like, nothing saying that we're going to show up. And a penalty could change it, so many different variables. But I just don't see, if you're talking about predictions and probability, I just don't understand. If you're like talking ish about the team 2 months ago, you come back, you've been a little bit of a cagey affair. Now these articles are starting to come out that Jake's saying you're getting compared to like Morata. I even read Chris Sutton's name in there, which is, like an old school Chelsea number 9 flop. To go from, like, so if you go from that to suddenly I mean, arguably Mutu and Crespo as well, like world-class players. Like they've got a history of this. It's just that Drogba breaks them up, right? Drogba, there's like all these, then Drogba, then all these.
Cool. And everything else,
Yeah, I feel like it's just, to me, it's a big jump. Is it impossible? No. Like we've come back from 3-0 against Milan and 4-0 against, like we've done the impossible. So you can't write off the impossible. But like, if you're in a bad vein of form, do you suddenly bounce back into life against Virgil van Dijk and one of the other two? Well, I don't see it, but it's possible.
Well, one thing, like, just goes by the old adage, right? Form is temporary, but class is permanent. And I'm sure on this podcast, you guys are classy, absolute class. And form on Jake Lotto, I don't know, but here and there. But anyway, no, but just on that point, I think Lukaku, on that same sort of vein, he could always turn up. And I would also say our own players, right? So Mo's been outstanding this season. I don't think he can get any better. He's been consistent as hell and all that. But one guy I just look at, and he follows that sort of, form is temporary, class is permanent, Sadio. And I go back to Sadio because, yes, we have a great strike force. Bobby as well. They've been slagged quite a bit since Luis has been in, since, Diogo's been on fire, Mo, they've gotten a lot of the accolades. AFCON changed things a little bit. Sadio came back, missed a few sitters, this, that, and the other. But remember, and Azaz, and not to pick on you, but I know there's been a bit of like, Sadio, and is it a permanent thing or is it a temporary thing? For me, I think he's the type of big game player that goes under the radar of a lot of teams. Maybe not Tuchel because he knows his quality, and obviously Pep and people like that. But for fan bases, they seem to overlook him based on his numbers and based on. But when he shows up, like in that Madrid final, like in that Kiev final, in obviously big matches of the season. So I'm predicting a big match from Sadio because he brings it and he brings the heart. Sorry, I need to plug Sadio, my man.
No, Jake, let me take this because I just want to address this. I love Sadio Mane, and I always will. And to be honest, there's not really a main part of this team who I will not love for the rest of my life. What I want to say about Sadio is I do think he's looked re-energized in the middle. And I do think when we look at Diaz on the left, you can see what Sadio was as a winger, but that doesn't mean Sadio's finished as a footballer. I just feel like sometimes it happens to us at work, like people change jobs, people tweak promotions and like
switch positions,
switch positions,
right?
So Sadio Mane joined us in 16-17 and was our star player. To me, it wasn't Coutinho, it was Mane that was our star player at the time. We had a romanticism about Coutinho, but I think that what took us from like 15-16 to 16-17, what took us to the Champions League, in my opinion, was Sadio Mane. And he was right wing. And then he had to vacate that role and become this whole new like phenomenon on the left wing. All the while, this other phenomenon comes in and just like starts this legacy that's all time. He absolutely was a 10 out of 10 on the left wing. What I was seeing was not necessarily him at his like most powerful best. And if there was a criticism I've had over these last few years, it's we want new players, but like if we want the top players, if we want top players, they're not going to come and sit on the bench. So we also have to be okay with these like players that we'll love for the rest of our lives making way. And all the great sides have done it, and all our great sides have done it. However, I actually have Mane starting. If you remember from earlier in the show, like I have Mane starting here because our record with him as the number 9, Diaz as the number, like as the left winger, and obviously Mo is Mo. Like it's his shirt, regardless of how well Jota did at the AFCON. Injuries do change things. Injuries do like form is class is permanent, but form is also form. Right? When we're talking about us being the best, when we're talking about us being the best team in the country, it's on form, right? Over the 25-6 games so far, City are the best team by 3 points. But when you factor in form, I think we're the best team. So
actually, one year, actually, if you look at the 1 year rolling, I don't know if you've seen that stat.
No, I didn't see
Liverpool
that.
have a vastly superior record than City even, and City have lost something like 12 matches. We've lost 3. In if you look at 1 year rolling back, so our form is looking actually pretty phenomenal well and good. Phenomenal, and we're sort of back to our best there. So hopefully that continues. And one last point on the Sadio thing, I feel Diaz and him linked up really well. Sorry, no, Jake's laughing at this, but today, if you saw it, they switched off each other. They have good chemistry with each other, just playing off each other and switching between the left and the center and through the gaps. So I'm just encouraged by it. I just want to see I want to see them both score.
Exactly.
It's love, man. It's love.
It is love. Jake, I have something to talk about before we move on to Norwich, and then we should probably wrap this up, because otherwise we'll be talking here till 12 o'clock at night. Did you see that graphic today? So we have the top 3 goal scorers and the top 3 assists in the Premier League after 20-something games. Unheard of.
Yeah. Phenomenal. First of all, I just want to say that I am actually wearing Sadio's jersey today.
Whoa, easy.
I just want to say that.
That's right.
And I do just one last Sadio thing. I'd like the evolution of Sadio in that context. He's taking this new thing as a challenge. Yeah. He's done his work on the left, go in the middle. That's been Bobby's space for several years, and Diogo's now. So I like that evolution, that we can have a plug player in here, and he's like the gazelle, and he can be free. I do like that. And I look forward to seeing, with these injuries that we have, how this is going to play out and for the next few games. In terms of our stats, in my Premier League football manager, I have Trent, and I have Salah as my captain, and I could not be happier that these people are in the top categories of everything. Right. The only thing was I wish was I'm not sure with Alisson's stats, because I think Ederson's got a few more clean sheets than Alisson. And that would be the only one that I'd want to be in that in the other categories. But is this just a fantastic feeling as a Liverpool fan to see these things and then have those comparisons? What was it last week, the week before? What how many assists Trent has in Europe, and in comparison over the last couple of years, and being 23, 24, again, every single aspect. And we are very lucky, and we are very, very blessed to be in this pinnacle time of our lives, watching this team play. That all of these happy points are with our squad, and we're just loving and lapping it all up. And you know what? It bodes well for the next few games, and then let's see how it plays out the season. And then I just love our future is bright, and then nobody can question it. It's there, right? These aren't stats that we are making up. These are stats. It's real play, and they're getting translated, and we are in the top categories, and it's the best feeling in the world.
There's a funny thing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go.
No, you go ahead, Azaz. Oh no, I was just saying there was a funny. Sorry. I know we're super nice here in Canada. No, I was just gonna say about how ridiculous it is if you really think about it. When we have the perfect harmony, like Jake was just saying, within our squad, our manager, our ownership, transfer committee, where we are in the league versus our history and our past, everything right now is almost knock on wood perfect. But if you think back about a year ago, or a year and a half ago, we were killing it. 27 wins, one draw on the spin or something like that, or 26, whatever. We were in the form of our lives. Watford happened and all that, or whatever. But that run was interrupted by COVID, a massive, major world event. Now we're in absolute symphony. We're quadruple, potentially this, that. World War III is coming out of blue. So it's it seems there's a lot of macro factors trying to affect us and everything, but this squad is stuck together. I'm just encouraged by that. Just some of the externalities that are out there, and how Jurgen's kept this thing super, super, nice and sweet and perfect for us. Sorry, Azaz, but you were saying. I just wanted to share that because it feels like the world's crashing in, but we're good.
Like the excitement, buddy. Like the excitement. Azaz, go.
Yeah. I just think I don't know if I've ever seen the top 3 goals coming from one team. 3, not 2, 3. And then I've never seen the top 3 assists from one team. How would that ever happen? Who? Who would ever have the nerve to do that? If you think of the great United teams and the great Arsenal teams, Beckham was amazing at assisting. Pires was amazing at assisting. Pires and Henry, okay, but they didn't have two goal scorers. Henry was the primary goal scorer.
Was the guy,
So Beckham was a great assist maker, and Cole and York were scoring, but they didn't have three. And Beckham was on his own with assisting. Paul Scholes was a metronome, but he never had the assist numbers. In fact, it's a fact. Okay. James Milner has more Premier League assists than Paul Scholes. Check it out. So like, it's so unheard of. Like, not only are you going to have the audacity to have the top three goal scorers in the league after 20-something games, but at the same time, you have the top three assist makers in the Premier League at the same time. And there is one guy on both. And by the way, I'm just saying it now on the 23rd of February. I cannot wait for the moment if Mo breaks his own record, which is 32 goals in a 38 league game season. I can't wait to hear the no, but Shearer was better. No, but Henry was better. No, but Aguero was better. Like, no. Like, right now, his disrespect level is still so high. But if he ends up having the two, still a big if, he's only on 19 goals at the moment. If he gets to 32 or 33 goals and breaks his own record while being away for 3 games at AFCON, just shut it down.
Yeah,
just
shut it down.
Stop it.
Shut that shit down.
Stop it.
Absolutely.
Stop it.
Absolutely.
Okay,
no, the amount of disrespect.
Let's wrap it up.
Norwich. We got to talk very quickly about Norwich in the Cup, because we will record after that game. Norwich in the FA Cup, playing a strong team, or what's the deal?
I think rotation. Yeah. Right. I mean, we have
get Naby and Dan, right? Naby plays. Right?
Naby, my boy Joe Gomez. I think he showed up really well after such a long period out, and Ibu as well. If he doesn't get a run in the next thing, but I think it would be good if we rotate a bit and at least have one of Taki or Divock in. Ox has been there too. A lot of our fans, were a bit, especially at the Madison last week, were a bit, had some scathing remarks for Ox. However, I think overall, on balance in the season, he's been really good. And hopefully that continues. But yeah, after the Cup final, I think it's going to be a quick turnaround, and I'm hoping that we rotate a lot more. Curtis came off today, or came on, and it's good to see him back. Yeah, Naby as well. Obviously, Naby, my boy. So let's see, Naby lad. Jake, what do you think, man?
I think that we need to get some rotation. The guys that are on the bench, I want 4 of them. I don't care which 4 to go into the squad for that match. There's options everywhere. It could be Simicus. Like, there's options all over the park. I'd like to I like them to have a little bit part to play. They feel more part of the squad, all that kind of stuff, and in the accolades and that journey. So I want them to get that. And also they need some game time, right? Like, maybe Harvey, throw a Harvey in there. He needs some game time.
I was just thinking of him. Like, Harvey's like lost now. He don't even he hasn't been in them. Like, and we have Harvey. Like,
get some Harvey game time in. So a bit of rotation. I would like it, not too much. Not too much. I need to get a bit of spine, a bit of core. Like, just 3 or 4 of them in. And them, I don't want to mean to say it like that, but 3 of the 4 of the folks that are on the edge of the squad to get some game time. So yeah, that's my hope, and I hope that we do pull out a win for sure. Izas, what do you think?
Winning's a habit. I keep saying it. Winning's a habit. We just got to keep rolling. Regardless of what happens on Sunday, if we show up on Wednesday, we're 1 game away from Wembley again. We've had the home draws this year finally, which we needed really, because obviously we weren't prioritizing the cup. So it's been cool to see. I'm down for an FA Cup run, particularly because the Carabao Cup was in the moments when we were going through like injury crisis, and Mo and Mane went to the AFCON and stuff. Carabao gave us a lot of momentum. Carabao and Diaz's signing, those 2 things arguably really what's the word, like almost like injected our
galvanized
season with new galvanized us. So no reason why we shouldn't try to get to the Wembley. So yeah, I feel like the confidence, if we win on Wednesday would imply that we would do squad rotation. If we don't win on Sunday, then I think we should go proper full strength, because we are already in the habit of Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Sunday, like those things. So I feel like, yeah, like I'm definitely not going to have us to lose, particularly in a game that would eliminate us from a competition. But yeah, I think if we win on Sunday, then I think we'll rotate and we'll probably have like a closer game, because I do think Dean Smith knows how to set up a team, and he is the guy who beat us with Villa quite heavily as well.
That's right.
If we lose on Sunday, then I think we'll play a lot more of the bigger players, because they're going to want to like get it off their chest kind of thing. In that case, I think it will probably be an easier win. So yeah, I have us winning both. I'm not gonna lie, like I feel like we can sit here next week with one piece of silverware in the cabinet, but obviously, as we've all said, it's not going to be easy.
Okay.
And with that,
I want to get the last word, just like and then end it. Remember something, folks. Form is temporary. Class is permanent.
Get your tickets. Get your tickets, please.
Get your ticket.
Please get your tickets. They're going fast. They're already gone. Yes.
Our fans are classy.
Yeah. Tell your friends. Get your ticket. Get there early. Have your vaccine ready. Get a good seat.
Have your vaccine too.
Yeah. Well,
sorry.
No, it's all good. Gents, it's been a pleasure. I won't see you on Sunday actually, because we're going to be at different venues, but I'm sure we'll be connected. But yeah, see you next week for this, and
up the Reds.
You'll never walk alone.
Up the Reds.
Never walk alone.